Okay, I believe that we are live, and well, it's only me here, so I am live. Sorry. Yeah, well, let's get started. I'm on what do you call it? A streak, or is that something completely different? I'm trying to say that I'm doing live streams pretty much every morning, Norwegian time, that is, because we live in interesting times. Um, you know, Very interesting times. It's very entertaining. Both old media and new media. It's very entertaining these days. Mainly because of Orange Man bad. Mainly because of all the things going on in the uh, unified states of North America. Um, and I find myself being entertained. Let's just put it that way. I'm being entertained, and I can deal mighty blows both to the left and to the right, and the center, and left and right, and up and down. And I think we should. So I have been very critical about that movement, that center of the MAGA movement, which seems to be the Christian nationalists, and they should be criticized because they're fucking morons. Um, and people don't like that. No, they don't like that. They don't like when I say that. But now I'm going to load a straight right punch and aim it at the left. It's always very satisfying. Now, don't take that in a literal sense. I'm just trying to be a little bit more funny here than usual. Um, not condoning violence, even though I have seen that people typically on the left, they are now condoning violence. It's the punch a Nazi thing. And I'm a very boring person that way. I don't think violence is a good thing, and I don't think that we should beat up those that we disagree with, um, even if you want to call that person a Nazi, you shouldn't be violent. It's not a good idea. We should be better than that. But anyway, um, these people on the left on YouTube, first of all, I've watched videos, so here's how I do it. Okay, I watch videos to get a viewpoint from the left and from the right. It would be idiotic if I did what a lot of people seems to be doing. They dig themselves down into an echo chamber, and they're not being intellectually challenged ever. So I have been watching a lot of these, you could call them leftist commentary channels. They have many good points, and I agree with a lot of what they're saying. I've been watching the right wing, if you can call them that, channels, and of course I read mainstream media news. I try to avoid it because it's so clickbaity, and it's the standard of they brag about being so great at journalism, and they're not. There's a lot of fake news. We saw that during COVID, full display there, and all of that. I'm not going to get into that now, but what seems to be happening now is that these people on the left, that includes most of mainstream old media, and these YouTube channels on the left, they have gotten into, I'm so old, I remember, what do you call it, LP records, those big round ones, the black ones, and anyone use those, you know? Um, yeah, but anyway, you could get, if you scratched it, if you had a scratch in it, it would repeat itself, in Norwegian. Some people have asked me to say something in Norwegian. We call it vinyls, yes. In Norwegian, we say hakkeplata. That means that you have a scratch in that vinyl record and it just repeats the same line over and over again because of that scratch. That's how these leftist people are now. And they're saying, Trump is bad, Trump is bad, Trump is bad. Trump can do nothing good. Everything he does is bad. If it comes from Trump, if he says it, it must be wrong. It's evil and bad. Okay? That seems to be the way they are dealing with their existence these days. Now, I disagree with that. I have looked at what the Trump administration wants to do. There's a lot of good things there. There's a lot of very sensible things there. And there are things that I will be commenting on, one of those things on the main channel, by the way, because it's extremely important, very good that they are doing that. But it's like, not only, they used to just ignore the good things, the sensible things from Trump. But now it seems like they've taken it a step further. They're not ignoring it now. They are spinning it in such a way that it comes across as very bad and stupid. So even the sensible things must be portrayed as evil, stupid, and so on. Now, I'm not a Trump fan, and if you have been following my channel, you know this. But what I'm trying to say here is that it's no longer interesting to watch these leftist commentary channels. It wasn't that interesting before. It was equally uninteresting as the right-wing channels. Because basically, let's be honest about it. They're both in their own echo chambers. They rarely have a balanced, an objective view of things that are going on, and they all subscribe to their own bullet point list of things that they must say and believe. You know how it goes. But it's no longer interesting to watch those because they're all going on about Trump is bad. It's so sensible. This will be catastrophic. This will be the end of democracy and this and that. And it's like that in every single video that they are making now. And I know why they're doing it. So there are two reasons. The first one and most important one is money. And you could criticize me for putting, did I put Trump in the title? I can't remember. I think I did yesterday. And that increases the views. I don't get many views here on this channel, but it's like they can see that hate that they are displaying. A lot of people like that. They love it. And a lot of people hate that. And those strong emotions they increase the views. And that's how they make money. So that's why they keep doing it. And I think the money incentive is the most important incentive. And that's why mainly why they are doing it. But it's like it's pissing in your pants to keep warm. It's not going to help their channels. Now I'm talking as a fellow YouTuber here. In long run, it's probably not going to do that because it's uninteresting. It's boring now. They keep going on and on about this. And the other reason is that they are just hateful. They're just hateful. And they would rather just hate than think. Now the man that they hate has become president of the USA again. And they hate that man. And that's also a reason why they want to talk about that in every single video, every single live stream. So it's like this channel is a little bit different that way. I don't hate Trump. I don't think he's so great either. I think he has a very inflated ego, and there's a lot of things I could criticize that person about. Obviously. So when I'm saying that, it's like I lose subscribers every time I say something about this, because it's like if you want to gain a lot of subscribers, you should establish yourself firmly in one of the groups. I won't do that. I refuse to do that. So and we will see it in the comments. So yeah, it's insane. I'll quickly just give you one example, or I'll tell you one thing that from Norway that seems to illustrate what I'm talking about here a little bit more, and then I'll get to the chat. I have about half an hour today. So I think it was yesterday I said that there are two genders, not three, not four. There are two. And some people will then say, well, you're talking about biological genders. That's different. No, it's not. It's the exact same thing. Now, that used to be the norm, right? But then all of a sudden, the influence from America came to Norway. It's not many years ago, and now it was hateful suddenly to say that there are two genders. I'm never ever going to say that there are more than two genders. I'm never ever going to play along with that fantasy, that illusion, because that's what it is. And I listen to the radio when I'm driving the car, and I like to drive my car, by the way. It's a petrol car. It's 2025. And as I told you, by the way, a little bit of a sidetrack here. Fox News, all of the fake news coming from Fox News, it's ridiculous. They said that they would be illegal in Norway by 2025. They're not. That was fake news. So yeah. So I listened to the radio, and it was an interview with a very extremist organization called Free. That means free, which is a stupid name for an organization that has become the representative of the LGBTQ, something like that. I think I got it this time. Community. Now, I don't think that there is such a community, but whatever. And the government listened to them, and journalists, they will ask them about everything that in that category. And they are saying extremist things like, you can see it on their website. It's okay to use prostitution. Like, they think that's fine. They're saying things like younger. I need to be careful now. Okay. they're saying things that goes against the ethics and morals of most people, including people I would think that define themselves as in the LGBT so-called community. Okay. And yet they are seen as representatives of that so-called community. My point here is that they are allowed to sit there and say that we know that there are more than two genders. There's always been more than two genders. There's always going to be more than two genders. That's what they are saying. And they're allowed to say that, and the journalists will not ask them to prove it. They will not ask them to explain. They're every single fucking time these idiots are allowed to sit there and say that without being met with any critical voice whatsoever. And that disturbs me deeply, because vulnerable people are listening to this. Now, I will just say before I continue, kids don't need that. Kids need to be accepted the way they are. They need to be accepted the way they are. We gotten to the point where, well, they made it illegal to surgically do things to kids now in Norway some time ago. It should have been like that from the start. It should never have become legal to do that. But they are allowed to do that. And they are talking about, they are allowed to say that there are more than two genders without being met with any critical question. And then they direct their hate towards what they call the extremism coming from Trump now. And what they were saying was the following. These are the religious fundamentalists saying that. Now, I'm a Norse heathen. I'm not a religious fundamentalist. And I get upset and, yeah, I get triggered. I get provoked by that. Yesterday, I couldn't think of many things that provokes me, but I get provoked because you know what I just said. And I'm not one of the Christian nationalists in the center of the MAGA movement. I'm just trying to apply some sense and reason here. And yeah, so that's but it's all about hate. I'm not hateful. I'm the one saying that people should be allowed to live how they want to live as long as it's not harming anyone else. And if these people want to live, if a man wants to live his life appearing as a woman, I would say that that person should probably get some mental care and some help first. But there will be people who will do that, and that should be it's I mean, if it's an adult, okay, go, you do you, Uh, so saying that, well, you're the hateful ones. I'm not hateful. These people are. And we see it in full display. And I'm sure that if you've been on social media lately, you can see it. You can see it. And it's easy to start hating people when you think that everyone who disagrees with you is a Christian nationalist in the USA. So, and I think that the Christian nationalists are a minority here. But anyway, Thank you, Living L393, for the donation, the super chat there. It's a little bit off topic, but I'll quickly answer. If the ancient Norse belief system was also symbolic, metaphoric, or did they envision the gods as physical beings? I think if we go back to the Viking Age, they did envision the gods as physical beings. Today's pagans and heathens normally don't do that. Because we know more than now, we know about science, the scientific method, and because of that, we can't really say that, well, lightning is because Thor is banging his hammer on the side of his wagon up in the sky, because we know why lightning happens. So, Butter Stuff, thank you so much. Very kind of you to say that. Now I will get to, let's spend the last 10 minutes here on the chat. I'll scroll up a little bit. Horror Business says Norwegians are very logical people. Probably more than many other peoples, but I would say that there's a group dynamic here as well as everywhere else, mature young man. Yes, I did see. No, I saw only the clip where that woman priest was talking to Trump and about trans kids, and I'm like, fuck you, because there are no trans kids. That's not a thing. It's actually not a thing. Well, the exception would be medical cases, and we need to be very kind to those people, but that's not what she was talking about. You only have a trans kid if the parents really want to have a trans kid. You know what I'm saying here. Yeah. So, but okay, is that really according to Christianity? I'm not a Christian. I'm not emotionally invested in it. If that was, if there was an agreement that, well, believing that there is such a thing as trans kids is very Christian, then okay, you go ahead with that. I don't care. It's not true anyway, but I don't think it's part of Christianity to believe that. So I think that was a foolish church service. Yes. Also, I think it's foolish that Trump is in a church, because I don't see him as a Christian at all. But I get it. He needs to cater to these people and play his part. Yeah. Peter, is it called a Klinefelter? Is that German syndrome? Okay. Yeah, I'm not talking about medical cases here. Episcopal priest. Episcopal, that sounds like an exercise machine. Something for cardio, I think. But there's gender dysphoria is not the same. That's a mental illness, actually. I know about that. That does not mean that you're a third gender. That is a mental illness. Yeah, Carl, yes, the intersex individuals. Yes, I looked into that. And what I found out is that those people, they just want to be, they don't want all of that attention to it. They just want to live a normal life. And, we should be kind to those people. And yes, it's not what we are talking about, and they know it. Yeah. Yeah, cardio day. I don't do cardio, to be honest with you. So I don't go on the episcopal machine at all. Maybe I should warm up more. Um, yeah. Okay. No, honestly, there are so many branches in the Abrahamic faith, so many that, and within Christianity, a huge variance, I think, and they all claim to have the truth. They're all, they're all, they are all claiming to know the right way to be a Christian. And yeah, so there's been a few wars about that, actually, in the name of God and Jesus and all of that. Isn't it wonderful? Which Scandinavian country is the most Christian? That's a good question. I don't know. It's neither of the Scandinavian countries are Christians. They're all secular. So we would have to count up the members of the Christian organizations, maybe. I don't know. So yeah. Yes, every Scandinavian flag has a cross in it. That's true. But I'll tell you something that you maybe do not know. It's supposed to be the military, or is it only the Navy? Well, it's pointed in 3 tags. Well, I can't show you here, but anyway, it's not square, and they hang it when they go to battle or into war, downwards, I believe, and then it's symbolizing a sword because it's sharp in one end. Then, you know, yeah, but the stuff also, the cross is not a Christian symbol. That is interesting because the cross doing that. Says the connection is unstable. Seems to be. I think it's okay now. Yeah. So that symbol comes from that instrument of torture and execution. But the cross is very old, and it symbolizes the sun. And I mean, it's funny because I made a video last year, I think, at winter solstice, celebrating the sun, which is a tradition here. And I saw a comment there, that cross, it's a Christian symbol. That's where it comes from. And it's not. It's easy to prove it because you can see carvings in the rocks and so on that are much older than Christianity, like much, much older, with the cross, the sun cross. So, yeah, the cross is the square cross is not originally a Christian symbol. The sun wheel, yes. Yeah, Peter, simple design, undoubtedly popped up many times in history. Yes, probably. And I think we often get into these discussions about Christianity and other religions because it's interesting, and Yeah, but let's stick with the topic. Let's try to stick with the topic. Um, let's see here. I'll see if there are comments here that are about the topic. Let's see. Hold on. Try to stick to the topic. Yeah. Well, okay. Doesn't matter. So yeah, the sun cross. Yeah, it's a cross with a circle. It's a circle with a cross in it. Yeah, the power. Orochi Fox says the power behind the sun has been universally venerated since the dawn of man. It's funny. I saw this meme, or meme, as I used to say to annoy my kids. That what was it? I lost my train of thought here now. Hold on. Yeah, doesn't matter. I need when I look at the chat and I can't think at the same time. No. Let's see here. Okay. Hello, Lucy. Oh yeah. So this meme, okay, this meme says something. It's like a missionary and some Native Americans, and the missionary says you have to pray to our God, and you can't, stop praying to the sun. And the Native American says, "Well, dude, at least the sun is real." So yeah, the sun is real and very important. Yeah, actually, in Norway, there are important stuff going on now. Politically, it's kind of disintegrating, and it has to do with our connection with mainland Europe, the cables going there. Norway is self-sufficient with electric power, and it's green power actually from the waterfalls. But these politicians, they want to channel all of that to Europe and connect us 100% to the market in Europe, which has already increased the price of electricity here by a lot. It's something that people outside of Norway don't seem to care about, but it is very, very important here. And it's probably going to split the present government. So horror business is asking, if I move to Norway, do I need to wear the traditional clothes on Constitution Day, or is that for Norwegians only? No, you can do what you want. You can do what you want. I don't wear those. I think they look silly, to be honest with you, and they're not really Norwegian, are they? The patterns are inspired by. Some are inspired by Middle Eastern patterns and so on. Someone came up with the idea that, well, we should have this this area where we live, we should have our own costume for weddings, maybe not funerals, Constitution Day, and so on. So I think I honestly think it looks silly, but a lot of people wear them. You don't have to be like born in Norway to do that. Some would say, "Oh, you have to." Oh, there's a black person wearing a bunad. That's the traditional clothes. Let's get the pitchforks and the torches and all of that. No, it's not like that. um, yeah, Elia, I hope Norway is able to keep our energy as well. But the politician, it seems like they are more interested in connecting Norway to the international thing, which is not good news for Norwegians. Now, I want to just briefly, it reminds me of something. Um, yeah, the shoes are horrible. I've heard the shoes are horrible. Yeah, okay. So I just want to just jump to another topic. It's the fact that the Trump administration is removing the USA from the World Health Organization, which will make it much more difficult for the World Health Organization to do what they are doing. And when you look at what the World Health Organization is, it should you should applaud that, because the World Health Organization is the extended arm, not the extended, well, the extended arm grabbing money coming out of big pharma, if you know what I mean. So I'll just say that that's another thing I am applauding. And of course, mainstream media, they are saying this is very, very bad. How can they do that? This will be very dangerous for the world. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. Look at what the World Health Organization did during COVID. Billy Boy's cough medicine. You know, I'll try to get around this without becoming demonetized again. Um, I'll just say, look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. And there are two scenarios here, okay? So the unvaccinated and the vaccinated. Look at the numbers. How did those like myself who did chose not to get that vaccine, how did we do? And how did the much larger group who did get the vaccine, how did they do statistically? What about diseases? What about illness? What about people dying very suddenly? So we just need to look at the numbers. And then when we have looked at the real numbers, then we can ask ourselves, is it good to do like the World Health Organization is saying that we should do as a nation? Is that good? I won't answer that. I'll just ask the question. And I'll briefly mention something I will get back to, the messenger RNA. Okay, you tweak the messenger RNA. That technology, it's very invasive in your body. The messenger RNA technology is what most of the vaccines during COVID was using. It's an invasive thing to do in your body. And therefore, it is my opinion that it should only be applied when there is serious risk of severe illness or death. Now, they are going to, under the Trump administration, connect AI, and probably with the new quantum computers and the mRNA technology, to try to cure cancer. That could go both ways, right? Two different ways to do it. They could say that here's a vaccine against cancer. That I would be very, very skeptical. Very skeptical. But if they say that we have come up with a cure using the mRNA technology, that's very different, because then you have the choice between trying to deal with cancer or getting the mRNA technology applied to cure that cancer. And I think that's very, very different, of course, because I'm not a doctor, but it seems likely that even though it is invasive, the mRNA technology, if it could cure cancer, of course, you choose that, you know. But you have to apply quantum computers. You have to combine AI and quantum computers to get the speed to do that, because you're going to have to make millions, maybe billions of digital tests. But I'm going to get back to that on the main channel. So it is very interesting. And I think I will say that at this point, I don't know much about it. It's just a suggestion coming from the Trump administration, but I will say that it's very promising. And it seems that's where you should use something as invasive as the mRNA technology. Yeah, Carl, yes. If you're saying if it proves effective after 5 to 10 years, then consider it. Well, many people, they don't have 5 to 10 years. They have to choose between dying from cancer and that, and DJ Lewis, I'm not saying that injecting mRNA in your body is good, but I'm saying that it is a technology, a very invasive technology, as I've said many times now, that should probably be reserved for cases like that, where people will die if they don't get treatment, So I hope that you all get that I'm not condoning what they did during COVID, injecting this in entire populations. I'm not condoning that. I'm saying that if they now can use that technology to cure cancer, that's very, very different. So I'm excited to see what will happen in the next few years, So yes, it's scary. I think a lot of things can go wrong. But again, I think we are looking at this will be applied to people who doesn't really have a choice, So yeah, and there's that question. Are we supposed to live forever? Well, you're going to cling to life if you have a decent quality of life. You're going to want to live. It's that simple. But Gustav, I'm glad that you don't have any side effects. I'm very, very glad to hear that. So again, I seem to always get into these cases where we need to be able to think. So I'm saying that the mRNA technology, tested millions, billions of times digitally using AI, powered by quantum computers, which is probably what they're going to try to do. to cure cancer. That seems to be a good thing. That does not mean that I'm condoning what they did during COVID. So, and again, I would be very, very skeptical if they came up with a so-called vaccine for cancer using mRNA technology. I would be very skeptical, and I'm not going to. I want to say more about that, but I need to be careful. I'm just saying I would be very skeptical. Okay. Um, yeah. So, and I've been very skeptical about AI. Of course, I've made videos about that. They should, but there is a place for AI. I've never said there shouldn't be. It shouldn't ever be used. And medical science is probably a place where it should be used. Um, so, yes. Uh, I'm sorry to hear that. Replicant 182. Yes, I'm sorry to hear that. Um, yeah, okay, but I have to end the live stream now. And thank you all for joining as usual. Thank you for the super chat. That is very kind of you. And thank you for being part of this quite intellectual, I would say, community here. Yeah, interesting times, as I said. It's not going to be boring, is it? Okay, have a wonderful day or evening. We'll talk soon.